Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Central Intelligence. So we have Kevin Hart and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson teaming up for an action comedy. Sounds pretty ingenious, right? Well, like most of Kevin Hart's projects, this came up a little bit flat to me. But, like most of The Rock's projects, he came out looking like a superstar. Yet again, he steals the show in every movie he's in, and this is definitely no exception. In fact, I would argue that The Rock's performance and his character in general save this movie. They're the shining star of the entire thing, and really the reason to go out and watch this movie. First of all, this character just feels pretty progressive. I will say that at points I didn't know whether to be offended or whether to laugh because his character was the punchline a few times. But overall, I think it is a very progressive character. He likes unicorns and rainbows. He was cool with kissing other men. He was very affectionate and just being himself. He was so comfortable in what he liked. He had grown to become so comfortable in his own skin for the most part. But he was still a badass. He was still a straight man. He was still a badass. He was just solid in his masculinity in that way. And I thought that was such an amazing portrayal. To have this man just lay it out there, say, hey, I like unicorns. What you gonna do about it? Yeah, 16 Candles is my favorite movie. And what? Yeah, I say some way outdated, ridiculous catchphrases. What you gonna do about it? And I think the message surrounding The Rock's character was wonderful. The anti-bullying message and the fact that, you know what, bullying does push you to do things and take action a lot of time, whether it be positive or tragic and negative. But deep down, unless you fully resolve those issues and actually confront what it was that happened to you, you're kind of still that same person inside. And it does affect you for years to come. So I'm glad to see, again, bullying being addressed to not only a children's audience, but to an adult audience, because trust me, bullying takes on a whole new level once you become an adult. But to his credit, The Rock sells it all. He is game for everything in this movie. He completely just steals that role. He's wonderful as his character. I loved it. We haven't seen a performance like this from The Rock, and that just made it all the better. He was hilarious. He was badass. He was everything he needed to be in this movie. And everything about his character is what was great in Central Intelligence. But really, outside of that character, it all just felt like more of the same. And I think Kevin Hart's character has a lot to do with that. Because here, Kevin Hart is just being Kevin Hart. We're given the same physical comedy that Kevin Hart is good at, but we've seen it a million times at this point. We're given the same height jokes that we've heard a million times at this point. We're given the same kind of emasculating performance from Kevin Hart that we've seen before. And we've seen Kevin Hart in this buddy cop format before. The only thing separating this from being Ride Along 3 is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself with his stellar performance. Because Kevin Hart's character takes almost the exact identical arc that he took in both of the Ride Along films, to the point where he is just bumbling into clues. He is like dumb lucking his way into solving things. Nothing's ever really warranted. Nothing's ever really earned. He just kind of bumbles his way into a new job, or into solving the case, or into finding the perp. It's all the same. And his character literally just does what his character from Ride Along did, just in a new movie with a new partner. The movie did try to sell it with some twists and turns and add a mystery in there, but never at any point throughout the film are you in doubt where we're going to end up. So at least it's fun enough getting to the end point, but you know, trying to add all these twists and turns kind of just felt pointless, because again, we knew they weren't going to take risks. And that is what really holds this movie back. It scratches the surface of so many issues, but it doesn't want to take risks. It doesn't want to become too intellectual of a comedy. We do talk about bullying, and I'm glad it is being brought to the forefront, but we don't really delve too far into the psychological issues of that. We don't really delve into the fact that, A, now that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is hot, people are willing to look at you differently. For the most part. Again, we scratch the surface, we start talking, and then we shy away for some sort of gag. We never want to get too intellectual with any of the comedy here, because we want to keep it surface level. We want to keep it as generic and run-of-the-mill as we can to please Kevin Hart's audience. And that's a shame, because they could have done so much with this premise. They could have delved so much deeper into the characters here, especially Dwayne's character. He had so much lying underneath that all just poof, magically is fixed by the end, but we're not given the groundwork to warrant it being fixed. And the movie, of course, takes conveniences like, why does being an accountant actually grant you the skills, grant you the authority, any of the know-how to crack government codes and get into these secret things that Kevin Hart is being used for? I don't think that's quite how it works. Same thing with some of the moves Kevin Hart pulls off. I'm like, just because you saw him do it doesn't mean you know how to do it right. But I mean, again, you have to give the movie a little bit of leeway with that. They cut quite a few corners, though, to the point where you literally have to turn your brain off to believe what you're watching by the end, because it's just like, oh, well, I'm glad The Rock is walking just fine after his leg was just shot. I know he looks like a god, but I don't think muscles work quite that way. So overall, Central Intelligence is a perfectly enjoyable movie. It just could have been so much more. And The Rock's character is just perfect evidence of where this movie could have gone. The movie it could have been. But then you see everything around his character and you realize that they were too scared to make that movie. So they settled for Ride Along 3. But it's generally pretty entertaining throughout. You kind of chuckle as we go along. No good hearty laughs, but nice chuckles. And for Dwayne's performance in and of itself, I say this is probably worth a matinee. You'll be entertained at least. And it would make for a really solid rental once it hits Redbox. So, that has been my review of Central Intelligence. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Central Intelligence? And what is your favorite Kevin Hart film? Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!